Well, good morning, good people. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. I hope everybody's having a great day. Let's get open for business and let's wake up the football gods. Wow. Are you ready? I don't know, but I think there's a chance that the internet will break this morning. At least I think some of the talking heads, their heads will explode. There is going to be so much talk about one player in the NFL, Dak Prescott, with the Trey Lance trade. Oh, my God. Everybody's going through the insecurities of Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott, this puts pressure on him. Jerry Jones didn't consult Dak Prescott. You're going to hear it all. You're going to hear it all. You're going to hear that Dak Prescott, he's on a pitch count. They got him waiting in the wings. Better not throw an interception. He's gone. They're not going to pay him. They got leverage on him. This is questioning whether or not they really wanted Dak Prescott. All this and more today. And the return of Skip Bayless. Skip with Michael Irvin. So, of course, all of the shows are ready this morning. It's only 9 o'clock right now. Get up. Boom. Get up. They were up early. They were probably up at 3 o'clock in the studio. Can we get this thing early? Can we go in here early? We want to be first. Let's get to it. Let's go ahead and get to it.
Huge news of the weekend, the Cowboys trading for quarterback and former number 3 overall pick Trey Lance, sending a 4th-round pick to the 49ers. You need to hear from both Jerry Jones and Dak Prescott after the trade.
Did you guys give Dak a heads up that this was coming? Did anybody in your organization give Dak a heads up that this was coming down?
No. We didn't tell anybody until we did it. Period. There was nobody that knew it. We told Mike after we'd done it. But my point is, we just wanted to get it done.
I can't say that I necessarily expected it, no. I understand that as business. I understand that they're probably on a timeline. They need to get something done. And as I said, he felt like that strengthened this team. To be honest with you, I'm not surprised by anything anymore. He's been in this league 8 years, been on this team. It's hard to say that I was surprised, to be honest with you.
Well, this gets interestinger and interestinger by the moment, doesn't it? So Jerry Jones makes a deal for a quarterback who was once the 3rd pick in the draft at a time when Dak Prescott's contract status, regardless of what they say, continues to be the issue that it has been from the moment he first stepped on a field for them, makes the deal, and Dak Prescott doesn't seem delighted. Now, some will say that it's because they traded.
Or should he be?
Why?
This is so stupid by Dallas. Not the fact that they trade for Trey Lance, the fact that you don't tell in any way Dak Prescott that you might do it. So, goodbye San Francisco. Made the mistake of trade. Dallas, it makes sense. It's a 4th-round flyer on a guy that's super talented. Dak Prescott's missed 17 games in the last 3 years. I've said this before. It's the only position in sports when the time you start playing quarterback as a kid, everyone tells you, take control, take leadership. This is your football team. This is your offense. So from 10, 12, 14 years old, when you start playing quarterback, that's all you think about. It's mine, it's mine, it's mine, it's mine. It's the way you go about leading the football team. This is mine. And then you go and make a move that is going to impact my room. If you, communicate with me. Let me know. If you want this to be my football team, then we can't make moves that are going to directly impact my room. And this is a little bit how I learned from the Carson Wentz, Jalen Hurts situation, because everyone was like, well, if Carson Wentz is that guy, this shouldn't impact him. It did. So how are we going to sit here and say that this is not going to have any impact on Dak Prescott?
Because Dak's not Carson Wentz.
He's completely aware that he was the 3rd pick of the draft 3 years ago. I just think it's so dumb that Dallas decides we're going to make this move and we're not going to let our franchise quarterback know anything about it.
RC, go.
I'm just laughing because Dan is super right, all the way correct. But you think Jerry Jones cares? Hey, man,
That's my problem.
Jerry Jones is the owner. Jerry Jones makes the decisions. And let's be honest, in most places, this is what happens. Teams prepare for the future. You know what this makes me think of? You know what team always seemed to be drafting
New England.
a quarterback somewhere to me over the last 20 decades, even though their quarterback who was there at the time is going to go down as the greatest QB to ever play the game? The Mickey Ficky New England Patriots. They were always drafting a quarterback. I can take you all the way back to my draft when in the 4th round, they took Rohan Davey from LSU. Right? They have Jimmy G, Jacoby Brissett, Matt Castle, Brian Hoyer. It's quarterback at the quarterback at the quarterback at the quarterback because you got to be prepared. But we also have to remember, when one of those quarterbacks suddenly started to become maybe a viable option for the future, as Tom Brady got down to the end of his quarterback, that quarterback was Jimmy G, he was suddenly shipped off. Now, what this makes me think is everybody has insecurity, especially at that position, because there can only be one. There is no nickel package for quarterbacks. So the problem with this isn't necessarily that Jerry Jones has to consult with his starting quarterback all the time. This is a problem with security. This is a problem with making me feel like I'm the man and I have nothing to worry about no matter what. And so now when you put Trey Lance in my room, even though Trey Lance, for everything it was in San Francisco, was a failed draft pick, I still remember as a 4th round pick, you now went out and got somebody who's thought to be more talented than me by where he was drafted. This ain't good. And on top of that, Will Greer and Dak are super cool. This is... I love Jerry. Jerry just gives Steve. Never mind. Somebody else go ahead, man.
He didn't even tell the coach. He told the coach afterwards. Darlington, get in here.
Hey, man.
I don't think that Bill Belichick would have ever told Tom Brady when he was picking up throwing a flyer 4th round pick. And I don't necessarily think that Jerry Jones needs. If we are saying that Jerry Jones needs to tell Dak Prescott, then we are in fact saying that Trey Lance is coming in there to do more than just be a backup quarterback.
There you go.
There's no way that's the case, Dan. What?
Why is there no way that's the case? What is he being brought in there to do? What is he actually being brought there to do?
That part, I think it's a stupid acquisition. I mean, this is Josh Rosen all over again. We're going to act for the next several years like Trey Lance is something different than what he was in San Francisco, who couldn't even beat Sam Darnold out. But he had a head coach who has turned all sorts of quarterbacks into stars, not the least of which is Brock Purdy.
With a loaded team.
If Kyle Shanahan gave up on Trey Lance, Jerry Jones, do you really think that your guy is going to do any better? It's not the case.
There you go.
It's not going to happen.
Here's my thing. I don't think it's a dumb move by the Dallas Cowboys because it's a 4th round pick and Dak has missed 17 starts in the last 3 years. Whether he becomes the player that he should or was expected to be at the 3rd pick overall, we'll figure out. Here's my issue with it with Dallas. Tom Brady was the unquestioned best quarterback in football when New England was making some of those draft picks. So Bill Belichick probably didn't have to because there was no question marks about Tom. Dak Prescott's coming off of the worst season in his career. There are
and still led the league
about
in
it.
points.
There is the lingering $60 million salary cap hit of next year. So if you want to make the move, Jerry, it's totally your right to do it. But to not in any way tell your quarterback, who again, this is my football team. You want me to take? We are Super Bowl contenders.
Trey Lance.
But it doesn't matter, Jeff. I don't care if it's me. We're Super Bowl contenders. And you're immediately impacting the people I go to work with on an everyday basis. It's your right to make that choice. But to not give me any idea that this might happen is so dumb because now what you've done is you planted a potential seed. You've planted a potential thought. And you can tell me people are weak or whatever to you. This Dak Prescott ain't weak. And you guys, I've been very outspoken of what I feel about him as a player. He's not mentally weak. Okay?
He's not weak at all.
To do this just brings an unnecessary conversation into the room, into the football team, instead of actually communicating it to the quarterback.
All right, I'm at the bottom of an hour here. I'm carving out as much time as we need to come back to this later in the show because obviously we haven't
even scratched the
surface on this thing. The idea
of course they're going to come back to this.
With the intention of him never, ever playing doesn't make sense either. So we have a lot to say about
There you go. There you go. There's the opening salvo of the Dak Prescott that now he's got the pressure of Trey Lance. I want to remind you guys now, like my man said, Trey Lance couldn't beat out Sam Darnold for backup. Kyle Shanahan with a loaded team. Loaded. All you had to do was be a bus driver. All you had to do was be a bus driver. This is a project without a doubt. I like the way you put that. The reason you would go to Dak and say, hey, we're thinking about bringing, because you're thinking about it being more than what it is. I don't know that they went through and said, we're bringing in Andy Dalton, right? A guy who actually played in playoff games. And I want to remind you of the 2 games that he played in last year. Full game being against the Chicago Bears and a loss, 19-10. Let me say that again. 19-10, they lost to the Bears, who had the number 1 pick in the draft. They put up 10 points with the weapons that they had. George Kittle, Deebo Samuels. He was 13 of 28, 164 yards, 46.4 completion percent, 5.9 yards per pass, 0 TDs, 1 interception, a quarterback rating of 50.3, a QBR of 31.8. The second game against Seattle, got injured, 2 of 3 passing. There's a long way to go before there's any threat whatsoever. Just isn't. It's amazing how the world is coming to an end because the Cowboys made this move. But if the Buffalo Bills, which tried, if the Baltimore Ravens, which tried, or the Detroit Lions, which tried, they would be praising this move. Come on, people, let's get real. It's just crazy what we've got going on here. But then again, you know, it's great for us YouTubers. There's always something to talk about because it's them boys. In the meantime, we have a little over 24 hours before roster cuts have to be final. And that's what we really should be focusing on. Who's not going to be there? And we'll get to that a little bit later today. Skip Bayless is back. So there's that. I'm Mark Holmes, and I hope you have a great day. Peace. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report.
You did one hell of a job, and the only thing else I got to